It appears that there is going to be yet another halting, or there is another halting of monies coming from the United States, as the United States notifies South Africa that it has pulled out its funding from the South African GETP program, the Just Energy Transfer Program. A 9.3 billion rand 9.3 billion rand, not rand, Aubrey, it's dollars. $9.3 billion climate finance fund agreement for South Africa, supported by key developed countries. US plan to give about 1 billion rands in commercial loans to South Africa as part of the deal. I wonder what your thoughts are about this. I know that some of us were perhaps on the side of the idea that says we are well endowed in terms of fossil fuels in this country.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding, of course, the arguments that say, we need to go to more greener ways of producing energy. But we have coal. We have it. And we've been exporting it to other countries, particularly in Europe and so forth, especially following the crisis after the Ukraine-Russian war.
Yes.
We saw many a truck taking our coal to other destinations internationally. We have the coal-powered stations that have been mothballed. And many of us were saying that we don't really need to be going through this situation that we now know as load shedding as yet, until we fix our energy producing methods to fit in with our green consciousness. And that's why people were talking about a mix energy, what do they call it? An energy mix, right? Where you've got fossil fuels and green energy, not just a mix in that sense, but a mix in the sense that you've got the monopoly, which is Eskom, that is basically owned by government, or owned by the state, with government as its only shareholder. And of course, seeing a mixture of contributions from the private sector in that. So the mix story wasn't just about the kind of energy that we were going to get, but also the way by which we were going to get that energy. And I'm still for that. I'm still saying, yes, let's go for it. Let's have the energy mix. Let's have the mixed process of the generation of energy. Because we do need the private sector to be part of this whole issue.
Yes.
But we have the coal, and we have the coal-powered stations, which have been mothballed. And I'm saying, well, this might be a reality check for us to open up those power stations, those coal-powered power stations, and get going, man.
Yeah.
And really get going while we develop greener ways of producing electricity. This dependence that we've become so used to on foreign investments and foreign loans and foreign is what has made us perhaps lose our sense of autonomy. So, I feel bad for those that had lined themselves up for whatever this $9.3 billion was going to mean. Particularly those people perhaps that had really made a huge investment in the solar space. Hey, because lots of people.
Hey.
And that's something we don't have to throw away. I mean, it's something that we can continue to develop. But maybe this is a great sign for us to understand that use what you got. You got it. Use it. Without forgetting the fact that, yes, we are part of the globe with finite natural resources, and therefore a focus on fossil fuels is perhaps not even the wisest thing to follow permanently, on a permanent basis. But we got it at the moment.
Yes.
Let's use it. So I'm not that sad. Gotta be honest with you. I'm not that sad that we've received the information that America is not going to be giving us more of their tax money. They've got their own problems. They must sort them out.
Sure.
But maybe this is an opportunity for us to really start the process of weaning ourselves from our dependency on the United States. I know that there are other nuances in this conversation, and I'm happy to have that conversation. But at a fundamental level, I think that there was a time when we started to get way too dependent on monies that we didn't generate ourselves. That perhaps is something that is a wake-up call, a much-needed wake-up call for South Africa. I see that the president has been visiting, or has started his visit of Gauteng, has come out to say that Gauteng is not a pleasing environment. Hey?
Hey.
Many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago,
Yeah.
His Excellency Matamela Ramaphosa
Sure.
went on a oversight visit on one of our trains and felt the reality of what it means to be on one of our trains because it was delayed. I think it was between Eerste Fabrieke station here in Mamelodi, where I come from, and the Hatfield station in town, in Pretoria.
Yeah.
Got stuck there for a couple of hours. I think the train was stuck there. Of course, he didn't stay there for the full duration of the locomotive's immobility. But he said he was shocked. And a lot of people were like, dude, what do you mean you're shocked? This is the daily lived reality of South Africans. He is, again, displeased at the fact that Joburg is not a pleasing environment, he says. And of course, Premier Panyaza Lesufi has come out and he's apologized. Oh, Mr. President, we apologize, but we've really started all sorts of programs. We even got cameras somewhere. we even got cameras, Mr. President. See, we got cameras, Mr. President. And they continue to deny that all of this is because we have visitors from the G20 countries. Please, man. Please, could you stop now? Could you stop lying to us? The president knows that the reason why he's here is precisely because we've got G20 visitors.
Yeah.
Panyaza Lesufi, the premier, knows that all of these repairing efforts are precisely because we've got G20 visitors.
Yes.
Dada Morero was probably the most honest.
Yeah, sure.
As embarrassing as that gaffe was, he was probably the most honest to say that we prioritized certain roads and infrastructure to be fixed because we don't want to look bad when our visitors from the G20 drive around in Joburg or anywhere in Gauteng. That's the reason. And what is frustrating is that the politicians keep thinking that we're stupid, that we can't see right through them. And so they've all gone and they've said the things that they are expected to say. No, we're doing this as part of the natural process of developing our province and our cities and all of that kind of stuff. When we all know that the only reason why they're doing it is to make a better impression or create a good impression to our G20 visitors. They did exactly the same thing when our BRICS friends were here. Yep. Exactly the same thing.
Sure.
I wish they would just keep quiet. Just don't say anything. Just shut up. Don't say anything. Just be quiet. Because really, this lying is just really very, very sad. Let me tell you what we've got prepared for you this evening. I'm going to be speaking to Dr. Eve this evening. And Dr. Eve is going to be talking about the trauma of rejection. And says that rejection trauma is a type of complex trauma that can occur when someone experiences repeated rejection or abandonment. I think that we as a collective here in South Africa and maybe here in Gauteng can attest to that. Being constantly dropped by our officials and our politicians, we must be in some traumatic space. Maybe Dr. Eve will want to say something about